Wavy here. Welcome back to my channel, and today's video, as I already see from the title, it is a Girl Talk Military Edition. And I'm here to give y'all the real tea when it comes to being a woman in the military, regardless of what branch it is, regardless if you are active, reserve, or guard in the military. And I was actually inspired by one of my really good friends that I met in tech school while I was there. I'm gonna put her little ad here, so shout outs to you, Tony. Oh my gosh, I miss her so much. And she was like, this is some real stuff that we should, put out there. This is gonna be a two-part video, so don't get mad if I don't answer like all the questions that I have on here, because this is just the first part, okay? So the first question is hygiene care during basic training. So with that, I made sure that I bought like a lot of feminine products, whether it was, tampons, pads, you name it. I had a lot of soap that I brought from home with me. So I had a big suitcase. It was like a giant suitcase. Like I could fit inside my suitcase. I made sure I brought a lot of lotion, hair products, even though I had a fade when I was in basic training. And I made sure I had brought all the deodorant and lotion that I could find in my house before I left. When it comes to like body or facial wash, I kind of bought everything in bulk. So I went to Sam's Club or, BJ's or Costco, wherever you guys like to shop in bulk. And I bought a lot of things in a jumbo size, like shampoos. I bought that, even though they do give you guys like the basic hygiene care when it comes to the women, but not everyone likes to have a 2-in-1 shampoo, because that's something you should not have in your packing list. Do not buy that Head and Shoulders shampoo, because it will cause you a lot of dandruff. I bought a lot of exfoliating gloves, and I bought my own razors. So you were allowed to shave whenever you had time to take your showers, but be mindful of how long to take your showers. And you were able to get your haircuts done if you needed a trim. But when it comes to like getting your hair done constantly all the time, no. Like, you don't have time to get your hair done at the salon when you go into boot camp. Like, be real. Your hair's gonna be gelled up in a ponytail and you call it a day. So that was basically how I did my hygiene care. I bought everything in bulk and I put it in my suitcase. Do not carry it in your carry-on bags when you are flying, because they will make you throw it away if it's over 3 fluid ounces. So that's to be mindful as well. So if you are able to buy like a lot of your favorite shampoos, conditioners, combs, put that all in your suitcase and make sure that it is the right one, because you can go to the stores and buy it when you're at like their little BX or like exchange areas, but be mindful that you might not have time to buy it when you first get there. So when you pack all your stuff, make sure that it's the stuff that you like and that it is in bulk, because not every place or every base that you go to for a boot camp is going to have the products that you love, and you're just going to be stuck with a product that you cannot stand. You're going to have to take that L, which is okay. Was it hard to make friends, and if so, how could you tell if they were fake? Well, my friends that I made in boot camp, they were actually like some solid day ones. Like, I still talk to a couple of people that I am friends with in BMT, whether it was the women that I was in BMT with or like the guys that we all came in together with. I still talk to them till this day, but it's not like an everyday type of thing, but I'm still close with them. To be honest with you, if you weren't like, I don't want to sound cliche, but if you weren't in like each particular group that you came with the women for boot camp, it was kind of like either you liked them or you just didn't care for them, or you just didn't want to be social with anybody. So it wasn't that hard for me to make friends. And like, dealing with fake friends in boot camp, you're only there for like a couple of months, and then after that, especially if you don't have the same job as them, you don't have to see them. That's basically how you can deal with that in boot camp. But when I went to my job training, I still had some of my friends that were in BMT with me, and I miss them so much, because even though we were training together, we did not always go to the same base. Making friends in tech school, it wasn't that hard, because you kind of meet a lot of people from different areas, whether it's from your home state or just like the most random states that you never thought that you would be so close to. Overall, making or like just having friends in general is really going to keep you grounded, because I know that a lot of times people get bases where you're super far away, including the ones that are like in overseas bases. It can get tough and it might feel lonely, but the people that you first came into the base with, or you're just PCS with, they become really like your solid day one friends, even the friends that you are closer with back at home. So that's something to keep in mind, with that you're not always going to be alone, because there is going to be someone that you will get close with, whether it's one friend or it's just a couple of people that you pretty much like. And that doesn't mean that you will always make friends in your job field. That is another thing as well. Like, don't have to be such in a rush to be friendly with everyone, because not everyone's intentions are going to be the same as yours when it comes to having friends in that job field. And for me, I mainly recommend having friends that's outside of your work field, because that way not everyone's in your business and you get to see other people and how they deal with their life in work environments as well. How did I deal with relationships in basic training, my tech school, and when I first got my first base to PCS? As y'all may know, I did a story time about my relationship during basic, so that wasn't really the best. I got broken up on my graduation, so that's that. Always know that when you join the military, there are gonna have some moments where you are not gonna be close with certain people that you grew up with. Like, you're gonna realize that a lot of people switch up on you, whether it's family or like your boyfriend or girlfriend, your husband, wife, your fiance, whoever that you're involved with. They can easily switch up on you as soon as you step right into boot camp. And that is no lie. So I'm prime example of people switching up on you as soon as you join the military. As for having like a relationship in tech school, yes, I did have a relationship and I'm still currently with him, you know. Proud 2 years going on strong, if you know what I'm saying. And that was kind of hard for us because we did have separate bases when we left, so we dealt with a long distance relationship for the first 2 years of our relationship. So basically the beginning of the whole relationship between me and him, we were like separate. So we were FaceTiming all the time. We took leave every chance that we got, and he deployed too. So that was another harp on us as well, but we got through it. And it's tough. Like, you got to be built for tough to deal with a long distance relationship when it comes to that. And having a relationship when you get to your first base, it's still kind of like, you never know what they're doing on their separate base if you guys are long distance. So you got to keep in that mind, like, are you willing to trust that person with everything that you got and still love them at the same time? Because I know that sometimes long distance relationships, they don't work because you are so far apart and you are dealing with certain things and you feel like you're alone even though you're in a relationship. So that's my take on it, is, you know, put your trust into it and keep working on it. If you are willing to put in the work in a relationship, it will work out in both of you guys' favor, whether it's a marriage, whether it's just a simple, you know, boyfriend or girlfriend, or girlfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend and boyfriend relationship. So it's really how you two put in that work. And like, don't add in your friends or family into y'all relationship. Like, work on y'all two. Like, it's only two of y'all in a relationship, nobody else. Having marriages in the military. Now, I've seen this happen with a few friends of mine. Like, some of them, they got married right after they graduated from basic training, and some of them, they're not married to them anymore. So things like that happen, and you know, those are just the things that you like learn to see, like, okay, maybe this is something that I don't want to do while I'm in the military. Like, I know some people, they don't want to get married while they're in the military because you end up getting separate from the people that you love, whether you like it or not, or they just choose not to marry people that are in the military in general, and they want to marry someone that is civilian. Now, me personally, it's up to you. You love who you love. I just know that it can bring a harsh toll on your marriage when you're in the military, whether it's the job that you have, which my job, we are constantly manned 24/7. Like, we can't just like say, hey, I don't want to go to work. Like, they're gonna be like, hey, the mission comes first, then your personal life. So that's kind of like a downfall of certain marriages because a lot of the jobs kind of take over the marriage, and you know, you're not really with the people that you love, whether it's your husband or wife or your kids. Like, that can kind of put a toll on it. Having a marriage in the military is not that bad, but it kind of puts a toll, or I say like a damper, in certain periods of your marriage, because you could be deployed or you could just be in a constantly demanding job, whether it's like EMT, security forces, SEER, like all of the air assault or combat type of jobs, like, or like ammo or munitions or flight crew, like the flight line maintenance. Like, those are like a lot of demanding jobs, and I know that some marriages, they don't work out because of the job. It's not more so the person, it's more so the military life. So that's another thing to look out for when it comes to the military, is pick the right job so that your marriage is not so, I would say, tumultuous, because a lot of the times the marriages in the military, they get divorces because of the job. Like, the job is constantly like being the problem. So that's my take on marriages in the military. Now, pregnancies. I am not pregnant, but the job that I have, which is security forces, I'm gonna tell y'all the real truth. Like, I've seen a few people that are, or that were pregnant in security forces, and I'm not just saying specifically my base, because I'm not gonna put my base out there, because, you know, that's another story. They were just really like disrespectful to certain women. Like, it was to the point to where it was like, if your belly was not showing, you're gonna put on that vest and you're gonna arm up and you're gonna do the job, whether you like it or not. And I was just like, that's kind of like, that's like a red flag, you know what I'm saying? And especially after you have the baby, they expect you to bounce back like you wasn't pregnant at all. And I'm just like, you know, you just had a baby. Like, let the woman relax, and if you gotta breastfeed, let them go ahead and breastfeed and come back to whatever they were doing. And it just seemed like that was a big problem. And especially with security forces, like, you have to be very mindful on who your leadership is, who your supervisor is, like your flight chiefs and all that, because sometimes it'll be a lot of men, and, you know, men don't know anything about pregnancies. Like, they just, you know, think, oh, just find a babysitter or just find someone to put them in daycare. Like, not everyone can afford that, and not everyone can do that. Like, you know, not everyone has that mentality just to leave their newborn to a stranger, if that makes sense. So when I saw certain people that were pregnant and they were dealing with depression, or they didn't like their supervisors, or they just did not like their flight chiefs because the way they treated them during their pregnancies, I made a pact to myself that I am not getting pregnant in the military, especially in security forces, because it just seemed like a complete nightmare. And I don't necessarily want to deal with that, because for me, I want to be very involved with my children's life. Like, if they want to play sports, or if they want to be in band, or if they have like a chess tournament, I want to be there. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go because of work. Like, no, I'm going to be very active in my future children's life. So I figured the military, especially my job, security forces, I'm not going to be able to do that. So my thing on that is, make sure you choose a job that is pretty much laid back and you're able to be with your children and have a personal life at the same time. So that's my thing with pregnancy in the military, because not everyone is gonna give you that quote unquote special treatment because they're pregnant. They can treat you like dog crap and do not care, and say that the mission goes first, then your pregnancy, and then your baby, then your family. Like, no, that's something that I'm not for when it comes to pregnancy in the military. So be mindful of the type of jobs that you have when you're in the military. So that's my take on that. Even though I'm not pregnant, I'm just letting you know from seeing certain co-workers' experiences and my friends' experiences personally at hand. Relationships at work. Okay, so I do have a few friends that I'm just like strictly friends with them. Like, we're cool and all, but I necessarily don't think it's a good idea. Well, let me tell you this. I have friends that I'm friends with, but Do me and Waylon work together? No. So we have the same jobs, but we're on the opposite shifts, if that makes any sense. So he works overnight and I work like, a regular like 9 to 5 type of job. So does that like put an awkwardness to it? Yes, because sometimes we don't see each other all the time unless we're just strictly at home. But I will say that it is kind of iffy, like being in a relationship with the same group of people that are in your shift or your job, sort of say, because sometimes certain things happen where you get into an argument that comes to the job, or you guys break up and it's like a terrible breakup, and the other person in that relationship has told so many lies and so many obscure things about you guys' relationship, so that can be out as well. Sometimes you just don't want that in your personal life. So I mean, everything is different to people. Some people don't like having a intimate relationship with people at their job, so they just kind of not deal with the same people that they work with, or they just say, I don't care, I'm gonna love who I'm gonna love and I'm gonna have a relationship with this person. So I would say be mindful of who you want to be in an intimate relationship, because sometimes people would think that you're doing certain things or they're getting certain things because of favoritism. But if you guys keep your relationship, like your personal relationship, outside of your work relationship, that should be fine, because that's what you guys should be worried about, is work when you guys go to work. So I know that there's a few people who have relationships on the same shift or flight as me, and sometimes it didn't work out and sometimes it did. Like there's people who are married and they have kids and they're still going strong, and then there's some people who broke up and they dealt with a lot of accusations and it was pretty messy, to the point to where they had to move other people to separate them. So I would say, me personally, keep your intimate relationships separate from work. And if you can't necessarily handle that, just don't date people that's in the same job as you, because then that way no one will know about your business and you get to have your free little lives outside of your work life. Now, the last question is dealing with depression and mental health. So I know that a lot of times people think that if you are depressed or you have certain mental health problems that you want to fix and you want to make that effort, and they think that they're going to get shunned in the workplace. Now this depends on your job and how your leadership is going to be supportive. So I've had a lot of people, whether they were mentors or certain friends or colleagues, that were very supportive when it comes to going to mental health. Like they didn't want you to, beat yourself up. But at the same time, like I said before, there were times where people, you could tell that they were going through it and that they need that mental health help. And the leadership didn't care. Like they're just like, well, it sucks to suck. We're all dealing with it, but you still have to go to work. And that shouldn't be the thing when it comes to a person's mental health, because you never know when they're at that breaking point, and you should never be insensitive about someone's mental health, in my opinion, whether or not it could be small to you, but it could be big to them. So I've seen a lot of times where people just don't go to mental health and their life just started spiraling out of control, and it took leadership to actually intervene with that individual's personal life and kind of get them that mental health help that they needed. But I would say when it comes to dealing with that personally and you don't know what to do, I would say go to mental health immediately. Like it is free for all of y'all to go. I don't care if you guys are active duty, reserve, or guard. Go to mental health, because you never know when is your breaking point, and you do not want it to be where everyone's looking at you crazy, or it can just end up in a traumatic experience. And I do not want any of you guys to feel like, okay, I can't go to work or I can't be the better person that I am because I can go to mental health. You can go to mental health. I am a strong advocate for going to mental health. Me personally, I've been there myself, okay? it don't matter. You don't have to tell every single person that you've been to mental health. You can keep that with yourself and your therapist. Like, they'll let your first shirt or your first sergeant know about it, but that's it. They'll just say that you're going to mental health. That's it. They don't even tell you the reason why you're going. They just say, hey, your name to your first shirt to let them know that, hey, they went to mental health and that they are seeking that type of treatment. And you know, you just keep on doing it with your day, because at the end of the day, you gotta take care of yourself first. That's one thing like you should really do when it comes to mental health in the military. Take care of yourself first. Yeah, people will say the job comes first. The job does not come first. Your mental health definitely comes first, regardless of what type of job you have. I don't care if you work in services, or you work at ammo, you work in munitions, you work on the flight line, or your security forces like me. If your mental health is not up to par where you cannot actually function and do your job and do the best that you can, go to mental health. It is okay to go to mental health. And if people think that you're weird for going to mental health to talk about certain things that you're dealing with, your own personal battles, F them. Who cares? They're not dealing with your battles, you are, and you are actually taking the actual precautions to better yourself. So that's pretty much all that I have to talk with y'all today. I will see you guys on part 2 of this girl talk, because I know that a lot of times I see videos about the military, just a bunch of guys talking about their experience, but I wanted to show the women that are in the military or that are considering joining the military that, you know, it's okay to feel like you can't do certain things or you don't have the right resources. So that's why I'm here. So I wanted to let y'all ladies know that these are the tips that I went through. These are some of the advices that I was given to, whether they were male or female. And I just want to let you guys know that it's okay to seek answers for help. Like, do not be afraid to ask anyone any questions that are boggling your mind, because 9 times out of 10, they will have an answer, or they will find someone to get that answer for you. So if you guys have any type of military questions that you guys want me to ask in this next video, please drop a comment down below on this video. And don't forget to hit a like button on today's video. And if it's your first time watching my videos on this channel, why don't y'all go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, because I know you guys are going to be ready for this next part 2 of this Girl Talk Military Edition, because I'm trying to give you guys all of the information and all the good tea and my best advice for anyone who is doing this military thing, because I know that sometimes a lot of people get intimidated and they just feel like no one can answer any of their questions. So that's why I'm here with all of these questions for you guys. So, and I'll see y'all on part 2 on this Girl Talk.
Said I'll be going down.